Hi, I've been gone for like more than a year, again, and I keep saying that I'm working on projects, and then those projects end up either falling through, or I'm still working on them, because I have a bad perfectionist, bad brain when it comes to that. So I thought in the meantime, I would do something a little more silly, just so that I can upload and remind myself what it is I like about uploading things, and get out of the hellspace that is the current projects I'm working on. I also just generally want to start making shifts in the channel on things that I do, uploading things that aren't mega video essays that I work on for literal years and then never upload. So I just figured I would do something silly like this, talk about something I'm passionate about, something I love, a series I hold really dear to me, and I recently got new editing software. So I need to make some kind of video to get used to that. So that's how we ended up here. But now let's talk about what we're doing here. I love Pokemon, as most neurodivergent people do. I don't know what it is about neurodivergent people that go, oh, little guy, oh! But there is something about it. So I want to talk about Pokemon, and I specifically want to talk about the Pokemon that I love, and I want to talk about the cool shit that the Pokemon I love can do. And this is like the most definitive way of talking about the Pokemon I love. That was my dog in the background. Anyway, this is the literal definitive way of expressing your favorite things about Pokemon. It's super in-depth, as you can see. It's got all 18 types, as well as specifically the starters, the gimmicks, the legendaries, and then your just total favorite from each generation, which is also organized by, and then your absolute favorite of all the types. Then you can make a team of Pokemon. That's fucking awesome. You have your fucking regional shit, and the type of Pokemon that are silly goofy. It's really, really in-depth, so I really wanted to do this. Plus, all my friends are doing it, and they asked me to do it, and I was like, fuck, this might make good content. So here we are. We're making good content. This was made by Cajun Avenger. The link is quite literally right up here. It's a github.io link. I'll also put the link in the description of the video so that everybody can go do it and send some love their way, because they have made a truly awesome fucking site. This site rules. I think generally anyone who doesn't pick Eevee as their favorite normal type from Generation 1, I guess I can see people picking Snorlax or Ditto. I'm starting to... Fuck! This one was supposed to be so easy. And it is easy. I love Eevee. But I also really like Snorlax. I have really come to love Kangaskhan, especially after it got its Mega, but I feel like that's not fair to say that Kangaskhan is my favorite because of its Mega, So I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to. Also, I'm going generation first, and then we'll go just down the list as we go. So I'm gonna say favorite Gen 1 normal type is Eevee. And I know that's like a basic bitch answer, but I don't care. In terms of fire type, wow, Gen 1 had surprisingly few fire types. Now that I'm thinking about it. Surprisingly few. Wow, I really expected there would be a lot more. Huh. This is gonna activate a lot of weird neurons in my brain. I fucking hate the Charizard line. And I know that that's not fair, because I think it's an objectively well-designed Pokemon, but I hate how overshadowed every other starter Pokemon is. And it's not even just oh, he overshadows the other Gen 1 starters. No, he overshadows literally every other starter in the series aside from fucking Pikachu. Other than that, I think that it's kind of easy to knock out most of these. But I probably have to say I think Ninetales is my favorite fire type. Because it's a very elegant and pretty Pokemon, and it looks really fucking cool. I think Lapras is really cool because it's Nessie, and Nessie's dope, and it just has this sleek, elegant design that I really fuck with. I'm not crazy about super elegant Pokemon, but I think Gen 1 really nailed those elegant Pokemon because they contrast with some of the just wacky little guys. In terms of grass types, I can't say anything other than Bulbasaur. Literally right here on my desk, I have a little Bulbasaur who sleeps on a little pillow all day. That's his job. That's it. I pay him to sleep on a pillow and be silly. He sits next to the rest of my frogs. And I think that might be part of the reason why I love Bulbasaur so much, is like, I love frogs. I think they're really silly, and he's very frog-esque. He's not like peak frog or anything, but he's very frog-like. While Venusaur is really cool, Bulbasaur does have like the cute factor and the just like, man, what a little guy. So I'm not even going to justify my electric type choice. Zapdos is just really fucking cool. Like, really, really fucking cool. Hey, it's editing Harusius. I just wanted to come in here and say, you're about to see my camera turn on in the bottom right-hand corner. And the only reason that happened is because I went through this whole ordeal about trying to set up a bit where I had, like, the two webcams, like, facing each other. Point is, I unintentionally had my webcam set to do not record. So it was showing through on my end on the preview, but it wasn't actually recording the webcam. But then after this bit, I accidentally turned it back on, which was the intent for this entire video. So I've already had to cut out several bits because they were all like visual gags. And they also just weren't funny, to be fair. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know before Harusius jump scare, you know? I mean, this is a Harusius jump scare. Okay, in terms of ice types, I want to avoid, by the way, just on the record, I'm going to avoid reusing Pokemon. To be honest, I don't like any of the ice types from Gen 1 very much. Like, none of them are particularly interesting to me. I'm going to put Dugong because I have this, like, really specific memory of when Pokemon Go came out. And I was on a lake and caught a seal and thought that was, like, so cool. So I guess I'll put Dugong, but I'm not really crazy about any of Gen 1's ice types. In terms of fighting types, I gotta go with Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee is so silly to me. And, well, I've really come to appreciate Primeape recently. But do I appreciate Primeape because he's well-designed, or do I appreciate Primeape because he becomes Annihilate? It's Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee is too silly not to put here. I like him. He does the, like, weirdo kicks, and I just think he's just neat. Poison types. God damn, there's a lot of fucking poison types in this game. I'm gonna be totally one scundo honest. I fucking love Beedrill. I don't know what it is about Beedrill that I'm, like, crazy in love with, but I love... Like, ever since Beedrill got a Mega in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I've really started to like Beedrill. Like, I used to think he was such a boring Pokemon, but I don't know what it is now. Now I'm like, fuck yeah, Beedrill. So when I think about ground types in Generation 1, I honestly, like, really picture just one Pokemon in my mind, and that's Sandslash. I love pangolins. I think they are so, like, fascinating as creatures. But I knew about Sandslash before I knew about a pangolin. I think retroactively, Sandslash has become my favorite ground type. Like, if you had asked 10-year-old me, I would have been like, it's Nidoking. He's cool. And I don't like girls. But legitimately, I think Sandslash is just not only really, really sweet, but really, really silly. And I fuck with silly. Quote me on that. In terms of flying types, I can't really say that any of these Pokemon particularly speak to me, except for Aerodactyl or Farfetch'd. That I think Aerodactyl is my favorite flying type from there, especially after he gets his Mega. After he gets his Mega, he's really, really cool. I like the rock goatee. I think it's, like, weird. I think it's supposed to be, like, a weird rocker joke or something. But I don't care. Like, I think it's really cool. Psychic types, I'm going to be honest, Mew is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. It is just this whimsical little guy. And you're going to notice that is a theme that I really like, is whimsical little guys. And he was the first whimsical little guy, so therefore he's my favorite. Bug types, if you had asked me, like, not even a year ago, it probably would have been a close race between Pinsir and Scyther that I would have eventually given to, like, Scyther, probably. But recently when I was playing through Scarlet and Violet, I was just dicking around in Area 0 and just chilling there. Was a shiny Venomoth. Full odds shiny, just sitting there. And it was like the second or third full odds shiny that I had found in the game. That was definitely the third one, because I found a full odds shiny Hoppip and a full odds shiny Spoink. And I've really come to like Venomoth's design. Like, the more I looked at Venomoth, the more I, like, analyzed it, I was like, damn. Venomoth looks really silly. In, like, a really cool way. I like this silly little guy. In terms of rock type, I've already kind of made it kind of clear where I stand. But I think Kabutops is so cool. I love horseshoe crabs. They're so fucking neat. Like, they're just this really... You're gonna hear me talk about, like, the reason I like X Pokemon is because of the animal it's based on, or, like, the concept it's based on. So get ready to hear that a lot. But I think what Kabutops does really well is it takes this really cute, unassuming Pokemon and really rewards you for going for it. Because Ammonite is cute, and it becomes Amistar, and you're like, yeah, like, I can piece this together, that makes sense. It just got bigger and got a little bit more defense mechanisms. But what Kabuto does is, yes, you can definitely tell Kabutops is related to it, but it is such a, like, drastic change, becoming bipedal, getting fucking weapons. Ghost types, wow, I wonder who it is. Dragon type, so many choices. It's the worm on a string. Yeah, I'm gonna say Magnemite is my favorite steel type. Fairy types, I think I have to say Clefable, just because I really like the theory that Gengar is Clefable's shadow. And so ever since, I've been, like, really into that idea, and I really like it. And also Clefable can use Metronome, and that is objectively the funniest move in the game. I don't have a gambling problem. Do not let me play CSGO. Obviously, my favorite starter from this generation is Bulbasaur. He's a silly guy. Gimmick form, it's hard for me to say because Generation 1 didn't have gimmicks, really. But obviously it gives me the list of all the gimmicks of Generation 1 Pokemon. And I think if I had to pick, I'd say Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan is silly and goofy, and I really like that its Mega Evolution is just the baby comes out. I think that's so stupid. I love it. And then obviously, because I want to avoid repeat things, I'm not going to put Zapdos as my favorite legend or Mew. But I do want to talk about Mewtwo just for a second. Mewtwo is, like, really weird for me to talk about, because I don't have the experience that, like, a lot of Gen 1 players have, where it's like, Mewtwo was the first, like, real challenge in Pokemon, and it was, like, this huge thing that was waiting for you at the end of the game, and it was a huge challenge to catch, like, and it was this total surprise. Mewtwo has definitely become another one of the series mascots over the years, but I don't like Mewtwo because of the games. Pokemon the first movie is a really, really compelling movie just on its own. Genuinely funny at times, genuinely heartbreaking at times, and it has a quote that just, like, astounds me, is from a Pokemon, like, media. And you definitely know what I'm talking about. I promise you, you know what I'm talking about. It's the, like, I see now I was foolish to believe that I should be judging people based on their birth or something like that. Like, that is insane and, like, a crazy important lesson for kids to learn. Of course, my favorite Pokemon of the entire generation is Bulbasaur. Before I move on to the next region, I will say that electric type, I've kind of reconsidered just looking it over already. God, this video is actually going to take forever. I'm 30 minutes into recording. This is going to be a long-ass video. I've been reconsidering my electric type placement, and I think Raichu needs to go there because I really like Raichu, but for the most part, Raichu was my brother's favorite Pokemon growing up, and so I just have this, like, personal connection with Raichu. Generation 2, hands down, my favorite generation. I love the Johto region. And when I say Generation 2, I mean Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but the original Gold, Silver, Crystal are fun too. So I could talk about how I really like Deer, and that's what makes Stantler, like, kind of cool to me. Or I could talk about the fact that when I was a kid, I would name all of my stuffed animals after Pokemon. So I have this stuffed bear that I called Ursaring. I think I actually did call it Teddy Ursa, mostly, since it was little. But there's a reason why the Furret walking meme is popular, and it's because Furret's really cute, and I really like the idea of owning a Furret, because it's a 3-foot-tall dog ferret. That's awesome! When it comes to fire types, I think I have a generally pretty poor... I don't have great reception for fire types, typically. I'm, like, kind of miffed about them, kind of whatever. But, that being said, Houndoom fucking rules. It's a dog. And it's dead. I don't think it's supposed to be dead. But it's cool. It's a really cool Houndoom. The only thing that sucks about Houndoom is that you cannot get a Houndour in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or I believe the original Gold and Silver either, until you go to Kanto. So whenever I'm playing through Heart Gold and Soul Silver with, like, my ideal team, always, I have an empty slot just waiting to be filled until the fucking second half of the game. Now, this might come as a shock to people, especially when you start to see the trend later on in the list being that I always pick the Grass-type starter, but there was one game where I did not pick the Grass-type starter. When I was a kid, the first starter I chose was Totodile. Now, things changed, and I have become a bigger fan of Meganium over Feraligatr or Totodile in that line. But I think genuinely, any of the 3 Johto starters are some of my absolute favorites. I love them to death. So I can't really, in good conscience, look at all the Pokemon on this list and not say Feraligatr, because that's the iconic Pokemon to me. That's the Pokemon that I, at probably like 2 in the morning at the age of 10, huddled under my blankets, pillow over my head, pretending like I'm definitely asleep. I am struggling against Lance, and I am trying to just wipe him out. My Feraligatr with Ice Fang is taking down his team slowly, but I only have regular revives. I don't have healing items. Feraligatr's the second to last one alive on my team. Feraligatr goes down. I then send out the next Pokemon, revive Feraligatr, send out Feraligatr, revive another Pokemon during my first turn. Feraligatr can tank the first hit, then I attack with Feraligatr, then Feraligatr dies, and it's this cycle until I finally beat Lance. And it was this huge, huge wave of relief where I just felt so fucking lucky that I was able to pull that off. So I gotta give it to Feraligatr. That guy rules. I think for the most part, most Grass-type Pokemon in this generation rule. I'm not crazy about Sunflora. I like Sunkern, not crazy about Sunflora, but I'm not going to pretend like my favorite is not the Grass-type starter. I love Meganium. Just a really pretty design, and probably the reason why I mostly wear Hawaiians nowadays. I'm not wearing a Hawaiian today, but that's because I don't feel like getting dressed. I didn't have to go to work today. When it comes to electric types, I definitely have to pick Ampharos, kind of for the same reason that I was considering putting Teddy Ursa, where I have my favorite stuffed animal as a kid, the oldest stuffed animal I had. Her name is Lammy, and you will be very nice to her. But I would always call her an Ampharos. So yeah. And also Ampharos plays like a big part in the Johto storyline. Well, not a big part, but it plays an important part. And it's cool, and it shows how Pokemon and humans interact in a cool way, and it's a cool way of introducing you to a new gym leader. And I also like that it kind of gives you this weird runaround where you don't actually get to fight that town's gym leader right away. I can't think of a lot of gyms where it's like that, where you go in and you see the gym leader, because like everybody knows the Pokemon formula. You go in, you meet the gym leader, and then you go fight the gym leader, right? Like that's a pretty standard thing in Pokemon. But in this game specifically, there's a lot of cases where you meet the gym leader way ahead of time, or even just significantly ahead of time, and you don't talk to them, or you talk to them, but you don't fight them right away. And I think that's really cool. And I know that's technically not Amphiros's business, but I don't care. I think it's really cool. Swinub is adorable, and I'm not gonna fucking fight anyone on that. He's just so cute, and I love him. When it comes to fighting types, I could go either way between these two. Hitmontop's funny, you know? Like, there he is, Dr. Bustdown. But Heracross is just such a cool and iconic Pokemon. I'm going to give the Poison type to Crobat because Crobat, first of all, is really special for being the first Pokemon you can encounter that evolves via friendship. At least that I can think of. And that's important because friendship as a mechanic in Pokemon makes a lot of sense. I think it's become really overpowered in recent generations, and it was super underpowered and like underutilized in early generations, but I think it's important because players should want to build a bond with their team, regardless. So I think that, you know, that's really cool. And especially if you are a player that puts the time into raising a Zubat specifically. Zubat, I feel like, is a Pokemon that doesn't get enough love. So it makes sense to me that Zubat and, well, Golbat, really, when receiving enough friendship, will become Crobat, which is a very beloved Pokemon. I think that's really cool. And it's like a weird bit of meta storytelling about how the Pokemon evolves. Ground type, it's hard to say because I really, really like a lot of these ground types. But Quagsire is so silly. Now, I'm going to come at a complete left field here and just say, probably without a doubt, Jumpluff goes fucking crazy. Now, I know that everybody really wants me to pick Unknown E because I've always talked about how much I love Unknown E and Unknown J. Bits aside, Xatu is another Pokemon where I heavily associate it with my brother, and I don't really know why with this one. I don't think my brother has ever once in his life uttered the word Xatu. But I do associate it with him. In terms of bug type, fucking love Scizor. And if I had to pick one other than Scyther, which I'm not going to, but Shuckle. Shocking no one, Pseudo-Legendary is one of my favorite Pokemon of the generation. And I'm not, like, crazy about Godzilla, which is interesting, because I think my love for, like, ecology and stuff would probably have made me like Godzilla if I had gotten into it, like, younger. Like, I probably would have really liked shit like Shin Godzilla or something like that, which I do want to watch. But, I don't know, I never really got into the idea of Godzilla. But Tyranitar is just cool. Like, really cool. And, like, having Sandstream as a kid, I thought was a terrible ability. I was like, oh my god, dude. I thought it was awful. But even as a kid, getting Sandstream, eventually I came around to understanding it, and I was like, damn, this is actually not a terrible ability. This is actually a really cool ability that's really helpful. So, Tyranitar helped me learn fucking mechanics other than just spamming the A button on whatever move had the most power. Unfortunately, Gen 2 has a single ghost type. And I do like Misdrevious, so I'm not, like, upset by this. If I didn't like Misdrevious, I would have just left that spot blank. Same with a single dragon type in the form of Kingdra. Also like Kingdra. I think it's really cool that even in Generation 2, the team was already looking back at Generation 1 Pokemon and going, okay, well, what can we evolve from Generation 1? Especially because you can just go to Kanto. I think that's really cool, and I think Kingdra is like the perfect way of finishing off the Horsey line. I am a basic bitch. Umbreon, hands down my favorite dark type. It is my favorite Pokemon of all time. Where's the fucking... Where's the thing? Oh. I'm just gonna knock that out of the park now. favorite Pokemon of Generation 2, favorite Pokemon of all time. Just so everybody's on the same page now. Scizor gets to redeem itself. I feel bad for taking it off the bug type, but I do think having a Pokemon with an exoskeleton made of steel is like a really cool idea. And I'm a basic bitch. I like the cool guys. I like the silly guys. I like the cool guys. I like all the guys. There are very few Pokemon that I genuinely dislike. However, that being said, I don't like the Snubbull line. I don't like Granbull. I don't like Snubbull. Togepi, I forget, is considered a Generation 2 Pokemon. But, like, honestly, looking at all of these, I really can't say that I have a favorite here. Here's where the real shit starts. I don't know what to put for my favorite starter for Generation 2 because they're all phenomenal. They are all really, really cool. For Ralligator, I have awesome memories with, and it looks cool. Typhlosion looks really fucking cool. Meganium has influenced my sense of style in a way that I could have never imagined, and plus it's cool and a dinosaur and dopey and silly. But I honestly, I think I'm gonna put down Meganium since I do always pick the grass type starter, so I think it's fair that I say the grass type is my favorite, but know that I love all three of them very, very much. I fucking love Mega Evolutions. Please bring Megas back. Please. But that being said, Ampharos is like so dope. One of my favorite Pokemon gets these long, luscious locks and becomes a dragon type. I think this one is also pretty difficult because I really like all three of the legendary dogs. I really like Entei. Not even because of the third movie, but just because in general I think Entei has this really like pretty and regal design. Ho-Oh is a rainbow bird, so it's a gay bird, so I feel like I kind of have to like it. I also think that Ho-Oh just conceptually looks really cool. I really like Ho-Oh's shiny as well. Lugia is the box legendary of my favorite Pokemon game, so I feel like that's like also a really good contender. And Celebi is silly and up there with like Mew, like in the same category of just silly. I also think Celebi should be a fairy type. I still to this day do not know why they did not make Celebi a fairy type. I think upon looking them over, honestly, I have to say Entei is my favorite. I think Entei is really cool. Like, just really, really cool. What a dope-ass Mon. He looks like a grandpa, and I think that's why I like him. I'm like, yeah. All right, Generation 3. This is another one of my favorite generations. In terms of normal types, I have to be honest and say Vigoroth, because when I was very, very young, I had a Vigoroth, like, figurine that I got, and I would play with it every day. It was my favorite toy. He lost one of his arms, and I cried, and I kept playing with him. I like turtles. Water types. Go fucking crazy in this game. There's a reason why water is the most represented type. I'm a basic bitch. Sharks are awesome. Now, it's not really fair for me to just always pick the grass starter here, but you're gonna see that that's kind of the trend. But that being said, I'm gonna break this chain here, this trend. I think Tropius is so cool. It mixes cool and silly and like, oh, just, I have had this idea forever about like going back to the ancient past of Hoenn. This was before Legends Arceus, so I'm not saying that the Pokemon Company ripped me off. I'm just saying that if I don't start receiving royalty checks when Pokemon Legends Rayquaza or Jirachi comes out, I'm going to have problems. But I've had this really like cool idea, just this like vision really of just like a trainer like completely lost in the jungles of Hoenn, of ancient Hoenn, and just like running around and having this visual of like grabbing a banana off of a Tropius's neck that they don't realize is a Tropius. They think it's just a regular tree. And after they eat the banana, like they finish it, they're like, whew, okay, catch my breath. They're laying back against the Tropius, and the Tropius finally like wakes up and just kind of looks at him and just walks away. And it's, I don't know, part of it is like I want more ecology stuff in Pokemon, But part of it is I just think that's a really cool visual, and I like Tropius. I am almost an hour into recording, and we're only on Generation 3. Jesus Christ. Manectric is in the same boat as some of the other Pokemon that I've talked about, like my love for because of their plushies. My brother got me this really cute blue and yellow dog plush a long time ago that I called Manectric. I think it's hard to pick a Generation 3 Ice type that I really like. Because, like, there's really not very... There's not many to choose from, but Spheal is really silly, and I've really come to appreciate the silly factor after seeing him roll around in Legends Arceus. I recently had a discussion with someone about how I think Breloom is a really good fighting-type Pokemon, because I think a lot of fighting types, especially in recent years, just end up being, it's a guy, like, uncomfortably close to just looking like a man. But Heracross and Breloom especially are just, like, really good ways of incorporating the fighting type into a Pokemon in a way that I really like, and I like its stretchy factor. Shit. I really like this Pokemon, but can someone in the comments remind me what his name is? He's definitely my favorite poison type, but I can't remember his name for the life of me. So if you can let me know down in the comments what this Pokemon's name is, go ahead and timestamp this part of the video and then tell me what this Pokemon's name is. I'll really appreciate that. Flygon is so cool that it's this antlion that then becomes this dragonfly into a dragon who flies. And I just like him a lot. Like, I literally have no other words for him other than I like him a lot. He's really cool. Every single time I play through Hoenn, I use a Flygon. Even when I'm trying to, like, change up my team, Flygon always ends up on the list. And I'm still salty he never got a Mega Evolution. There are so many good Psychic types in this generation, which is crazy. But Metagross is fucking awesome. I don't know what it is about the idea of a moving fortress, but Metagross is so cool. Bug types. I, as a child, did not understand this Pokemon's ability. But I thought it was funny as fuck. I was like, wait a minute, so if it's a ghost and bug type, then it can only be hit by fire type moves. That's not true. So only moves that are super effective against this Pokemon will hit it, but it had 1 HP, and I would try and slam HP ups into it. I would try and grind its level to just get its HP up just a little bit. As I'm looking at all these rock types, I gotta say it's Regirock for the Bayonet is my favorite ghost type because it makes me sad. Like, that's all it is. Like, the idea of a child abandoning, like, one of their favorite dolls makes me just... Dragon type sweep. Latios and Latios are really cool, and I know they're like a package deal. But Latios is my preferred of the two. I just really like that, like, cool blue. I'm once again going to be incredibly predictable. Absol is my favorite dark type, and I don't even have, like, a definitive answer for you as to why he looks cool. He just does. Aggron is another Pokemon that I had a plushie, or not a plushie of, I had a figure for. And I also had a figure for Lairon. I'm starting to realize I had a lot of Hoenn figures that were just the second stage evolution, and I don't know why. But that being said, Aggron is just really cool. I really like his just, like, bulky dinosaur design, and it, like, the perfect through line from Aeron to Lairon to Aggron. Just, oh, so good. Such a good evolution line. I mean, who else am I going to put in the fairy type but Gardevoir? Beautiful design, like, genuinely one of the most elegant looking Pokemon. I do have my problems with her. For one, I don't like what the internet has done to her, and you know what I mean, where it feels like anytime I want to talk about her, I have to, like, hesitate and then be like, but not in a weird way, when I shouldn't need to fucking justify myself. She's an elegant design, and I like that, and, like, the idea of, like, a battle maiden Pokemon is cool, but I think it's also just a little bit too close to that humanoid problem that a lot of fighting types fit into. That being said, though, just looking at the rest of these, I can't say that I prefer the other two over Gardevoir. Mawile is great, but I don't think I would rather have Mawile here than Gardevoir, despite my problems with Gardevoir. My favorite starter, of course, is going to be the Grass type one. But of the three here in the Grass type, I would say that my favorite stage is... yes, it's Trico. Trico's silly. This generation especially has some really, really good megas. All the starter megas look good. The Gardevoir mega, I don't like. This is too humanoid. It makes me uncomfortable. Mawile's mega is great. Sablite's mega is perfect. Literally peak Pokemon design. Aggron's mega makes me really sad. A couple of these make me really sad because they're stupid as fuck, like the Manectric and the Aggron and the Sharpedo. But for the most part, I think these are all really, really, really excellent designs. I'm sorry, that's just such a cool fucking design. It's the most basic principle of take cool thing and give it wings, and it's instantly cooler. Now, amongst all the legendaries, it's kind of hard for me to pick one. But, like, when I really think about it, it's Groudon. I grew up playing Ruby. I can't really say that Groudon is not my favorite. Like, I love Groudon. He's cool. But my favorite Pokemon of the entire generation. Man. That's a thinker. Psych! Generation 4. This is my least favorite generation of Pokemon. Like, period. I don't like Sinnoh pretty much at all. So we're going to kind of blaze through this one. Generation 5. Holy shit, there's a lot of normal types in this. That I just completely fucking forgot about. Oh my god, I have to... Chinchino is significant to me because I watched the Munching Orange playthrough of Pokemon Black and White like 100 times as a kid. And the Minccino and the Chinchino both are staples of his team in that playthrough. So, God, that's really, really tough. Oh, no. Oh, this generation is full of peak designs. Ah, shit. Tentatively, I'm putting Volcarona as my favorite, but if I don't like any of the other bugs, then I'm going to swap it out for something else. I really like Oshawott entire line. Just 100% love Samurot's design. As much as I love the Sawsbuck line, and like how conceptually cool it is, and even in practice it's really cool, I have just found a new adoration for Ferrothorn, just as a design, because it's such a unique type combination that I have to be like, damn, what an awesome fucking Pokemon. Joltik is literally the cutest little guy. This gen has the advantage of having the weirdest fucking ice types. Some of the more creative ones, I'll be honest. Having an ice cream Pokemon, I don't care what anyone says, is cool. The fact that Cubchoo and Beartic exist are just really strange to me. Cryogonal sucks. I don't like Cryogonal. Sorry to the, like, half of Cryogonal fan that's out there. Silly little guy. When in doubt, silly little guy. I don't feel particularly strongly about a lot of the fighting types in this gen. I think they're all, like, solid, but this isn't a tier list. This is just my favorites. I am never doing a Pokemon tier list. That is... I'm an hour and 15 minutes into doing this, which is only my favorite Pokemon. If I had to do every single Pokemon, it would be an all-day ordeal. That being said, Cobalion, just, I don't know what it is about Cobalion, but that design just speaks to me. That's another one where I don't give a fuck. The trash Pokemon is cool. I think that's a really interesting idea. How did it exist in the ancient past? No idea! This one is kind of a close race between Golurk and Sandile. Braviary is just a staple of my teams every time I play through Black and White, but I also have to respect Woobat for carrying Child Me through Berg's gym. And I can't deny that I think Mandibuzz has a cool design. I really don't like Vullaby, but I do like Mandibuzz. And then I really like Arcan and Archeops. Archeops, I'm gonna say, is my favorite because he's so silly. And he looks like he's perpetually like just struggling to keep his body in the air. And one of my good friends, her favorite Pokemon is Archeops, and I just am like, yeah, that's a dope-ass guy. 1, I think Victini should be a fairy type, and 2, as much as I like Victini, and I have that respect for Woobat and Swoobat, Sigilyph is stupid. And that almost puts him there. But I think Ranunculus is just so cool. Like, just a really, like, weird and, like, oddly intricate design that I can't really describe as anything other than just, like, yeah. Oh, God. I was really hoping that I could just say fuck it and put Volcarona here. But there are so many good bug types. Scolipede, Galvantula, Crustle, Excelgor, Escavalier. No one likes Durant. I'm gonna say Scolipede because what a sick fucking guy. Like, very few bug types actually get to have these, like, really cool designs. They always end up being silly, like my boy Froppulus up there, or Shuckle, or like Shedinja. Like, they never feel intimidating, but Scolipede always feels intimidating, especially in Gen 5 when you send one out and it hits the ground with that thud sound effect. Like, that's perfect. Gigalith is really close, but I am forever salty that it's a trade evolution, and I know it's go get friends 5-head, but as a kid, I never got to, like, bring my 3DS anywhere, so I couldn't trade Pokemon with my friends, really. So I just never got to have Gigalith. Plus, I think Dwebble is very cute. Crustle is kind of pushing it for me. Like, I think it's a little stupid, but I respect the stupid. Cofagrigus has definitely gotten someone canceled. And, like, I'm saying that in the dumb Twitter canceled, because there's, like, 2 ways to pronounce Cofagrigus. I'm not gonna say the other one, even though I am gay, but it is very problematic. Sorry if y'all heard a my partner called me. As cool as the Haxorus line is, and as cool as, like, Reshiram and Zekrom are, and I think Reshiram and Zekrom have some of the coolest designs in all of Pokemon. Like, these are legendary. Especially Reshiram. I don't know what kind of crack I was smoking as a kid that made me think Zekrom was better, but hot damn, Reshiram is so fucking cool. Hydreigon is really, really dope. I love when Pokemon gets creative with names in, like, stupid ways. And having Dino, which I call Dino because I don't want to call it Dino, but I know that it's probably supposed to be Dino, and then Zvilius and Hydreigon. Really cool. German counting, very cool. Zoroark is just so cool. It's another one of those really, really cool designs that I can't argue with myself as it's anything other than just really cool. Do I like Bisharp because of its design? Yes. But have I only come to appreciate it because I have a Kingambit? Yes. So, it's kind of tough for me to say, but I'm going to say Bisharp is my favorite steel type. Even though he's quad fucking weak to fighting. Jesus Christ. Cottony and Whimsicott, I genuinely like. I just like these Pokemon. I really like them. Cottony is my preferred of the two because it's little and cute. But I think Whimsicott looks really cool too. And I know that it's kind of a powerhouse and competitive. So, but I don't care about comp. I care about ecology and cute little guys. My favorite starter is always the grass types. So, don't even look at these 6. Between these 3, Serperior just has this design. Just Now, this generation has a crazy number of legendaries and legendary forms, but I've beat around the bush long enough. Victini, silly little man. It's Zoroark. It's just so cool. Generation 6. This is another generation that I really, really like. It's got a lot of flaws, but I really like Gen 6, and I'll probably fight you to the death about it. I don't like any of these normal types. The only one that I like is Heliolisk, and that's going to be my favorite electric type, like, without a doubt. And as I'm just looking over all of these, other than Mega Kangaskhan, I really don't like any of these Pokemon. None of them stick out to me in an impactful way. So I guess I already spoiled, but yeah, Heliolisk, because I really like the frilled lizard aspect. Volcanion has such a cool gimmick, and I actually really like this design, and I am Really sad that, like, Volcanion has not made an appearance in a while. But it's time I show some respect to Mega Houndour. Or Mega Houndoom. He just... Oh my god. This is tough. This is really tough. The grass types in this generation go crazy. Chestnut is, like, that line, really, really solid. I love Skiddo and Go-Goat. And I love Pumpkaboo and Gourgeist. And I love Phantump and Trevenant. And these megas are cool. They're megas of some of my favorite Pokemon. So, it's tough to say. But I think for me, Trevenant just has this really appealing design that's really hard for me to deny. Though know that in my heart, literally all of these Pokemon could go here. I love every single grass type in Generation 6. Avalugg is stupid. I love him. This is one of those cases where, again, it's a lot of, like, designs of just dudes that I'm really not crazy about. Is Mega Mewtwo X really a Psychic type? Or a Fighting type? Yes, it's a Psychic type, you dumbass. Pangoro, you're dope. Poison type, there's not a lot to choose from, truth be told. But that being said, I really like Dragolich. I am a sucker for, like, seahorse designs. Especially, like, these fake dragons. There's really not a lot for me to say. I guess Zygarde. I really wish he got to do something. Sitting down and thinking about it, the mystery of Zygarde and what it was going to be when X and Y were the newest games, that was more interesting than what anything Pokemon could have come up with was. Like, just realistically, it was more fun to just speculate about Zygarde's entire thing than it was to, like, actually find out what Zygarde's deal was. Flying type wise, I gotta give it to Noivern. Such a cool Pokemon, and I know that he's one of those Pokemon that everybody is like, please make it a sound type, but I don't really want a sound type. I think it's too situational. I have already gone on record saying I'm not really crazy about most Psychic types, but goddamn, Mega Mewtwo Y encapsulates the, like, lead up and hype of X and Y. And it's hard for me to talk about, like, what online culture really was like when X and Y were the games that were coming out. But seeing this version of Mewtwo was... it shattered, like, all expectations of any new generation of Pokemon. I was like, oh my god, it's Mew 3. And it ended up being something way better. So, Mega Mewtwo Y is all of the, like, history of the hype and the memories I have of pre-release X and Y in one compact form. They don't really give you a lot of options when it comes to the bug types. I know I've already chosen Beedrill up here, but is anyone going to get mad if I say Mega Beedrill? Vivion's cool, but I don't think it's cool enough to be considered my favorite bug of the generation. And like I said, I've come to really like Beedrill because of Mega Beedrill. Tyrantrum is really cool, and it's just Anjanath from Monster Hunter. And that's wild because Tyrantrum came first, so I should really be saying Anjanath is just fucking Tyrantrum with a cold. 12-year-old me was like, I put that dinosaur in! Gourgeist rules. I do think I would say that Pumpkaboo is my preferred of the two, just because it's small and cute and little, and I like it. I have already used up all of my options for the dragons, pretty much. I've used you. That being said, though, even if I hadn't used these other guys before, Goodra is just so weird and strange that I just am like, that is so fucking cool. Now, looking at dark types, we do have Yveltal. And I've become a really big fan of Xerneas over the years, but I can't deny that the fact that Pokemon Y was the version I had as a kid. I ended up selling it, unfortunately, but I recently got a copy of X because I've become a bigger fan of Xerneas. But that being said, Yveltal is a really cool design. As cool as Klefki is, I genuinely like Klefki. Of course I'm going to go with fucking Aegislash. I do like its shield form more. Both forms are obviously dope. Really fucking love Aegislash. This one is tough for me because Sylveon just being the introduction to the fairy type makes it a very special Pokemon. But Xerneas is just so dope. I really fucking like Xerneas. It's a really good Pokemon. My favorite starter is, of course, going to be Chestnut. Don't even need to ask me. Now, we get into the real shit. Now, gimmick form, we've already talked about 3 or 4 megas. Well, I don't know why I was going to say 3. That's just not true. Now that we're approaching some megas that have not already been discussed, I can talk about one that I talked about a little bit but didn't really get to go into, is Sableye and Banette. Both of these are peak designs. And while Sableye is a cute and silly little guy, Banette's design is incredible. I have such a fucking love for like red and pinkish hues mixed with like ghosty effects. I don't know what that is called, but it's fucking sick. And Hoopa is so cool. I know that the fucking more recent Pokemon movies aren't very good, but just conceptually, the Hoopa movie is awesome. Like, Hoopa is just a weird little mischief maker guy, and I love him, and I love that he can just summon other Pokemon from all over the goddamn place and just wreak havoc. He's very cool. And the Trickster bottle is, like, really weird in its design that I like it. Like, it's very distinctly designed. My favorite Pokemon in all of X and Y. Man. I think I'm going to go with Trevenant. Gen 4 may be my least favorite generation, but Gen 7 is not far behind. But that is not because of its Pokemon designs. I think this fucking... Oh my god, the Pokemon in this are fucking sick. Silvally is awesome, and I love that it's called the RKS system, which just proves that it's called Arceus and not Arceus, but I don't care. I'm going to keep calling it that. The fire types of this generation... First of all, I didn't know this form of Oricorio was a fire type. Marowak goes crazy. What a spectacular way of incorporating the culture that inspired the region into the Pokemon's design. This one's tough, because as much as I really like Golisopod, Wishiwashi, dope. Just looking at these grass types, dude, holy shit, these are really solid. For me, it's between Dhelmise and Alolan Exeggutor, and as funny and cool as that Pokemon is, Dhelmise is one of those Pokemon that I feel really sad that I've never used on my team, but I just never had a need for it. But I think it is such a cool design. I don't know what this is. Oh, Zeraora. I don't know what the fuck that is. Have to be honest, Alolan Raichu is such a genius idea. Just absolute genius. And I'm very glad that like regional forms have started to become prominent in Pokemon. Because this is an example of when it works really, really well for me. I think Alolan Ninetales is gorgeous. Fighting types, I think Kamo is super cool, but I can't argue that Beware is really funny, and especially having him as a Pokemon in Smash Ultimate has really made me like him over the years. I honestly can't say that any of these would go into my favorite Pokemon's list, like, just at all. Like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Ground type, I have to put respect on Sandygast and Palisand, because these two just... these are, like... I like when Pokemon does inanimate object designs that work really, really well, and this is a really, really well... This is an example of, like, peak inanimate object. I don't like any of the flying types in this generation. Truth be told, being just, like, 100% honest, I don't really like any of them either. I just don't care. Bug types, of course, I've already talked about my love for Golisopod, but I do like Dewpider. Lycanroc, sick fucking Pokemon. I think its midday form is just so good. Can you even get its midday form in Sun and Moon base? Or do you have to, like, was it a pre-order bonus? Standing here, I realize that ghost types just rule. And I kind of want to go back and change my answer to Alolan Exeggutor here so that I can make it Dhelmise here. Guzzlord is fucking awesome. I don't know whose idea this Pokemon was, but this is like a Nightmare Fuel Pokemon. I like the Ultra Beasts because they're Nightmare Fuel Pokemon. Gonna be honest, don't fuck with any of these. Fairy types, of course, is Mimikyu. Mimikyu is, again, peak Pokemon design, and I'm not going to fight people about it. It's so good. Favorite starter is the grass type again. I know I said I want to avoid repeating Pokemon, but Alolan Raichu. I love Lunala. A beautiful fucking design. Just, oh. And if I'm looking at all these Pokemon just objectively, I think Mimikyu is just the best designed Pokemon to come out of that generation. Like, what a genius Pokemon. Now, you might be noticing that as we've gone further down the list of generations, I have gotten faster and faster at doing this. And part of that is because I don't have to quantify and qualify as many things. But also, generally speaking, sorry to say this, I don't really like a lot of the later generations of Pokemon. Just straight up. Like, I would say it's more common for the handful of Pokemon I like from any given generation to fall into the same type category. Hisuian, Zorua, and Zoroark are just such good designs, and because I already have a Zoroark on here, I am going to put Zorua, but both of them are like equally good in my opinion. Speaking of equally good designs, Hisuian, Growlithe, and Arcanine are just so neat. It's such a good design that I have to say they both go here. I can look at all of these Pokemon and acknowledge that I think they're pretty well designed. I like Dreadnought. I really do. I like Inteleon assassinating JFK. Cramorant is the funniest fucking Pokemon in the world, and I don't know why people don't like him. He's so stupid. I love his gimmick. It's kind of hard to say which one I'd really want to put here. I'll say that Appletun, my favorite grass type this generation. I don't like any of these Pokemon. Snom. Galarian Zapdos fucking rules. I love Chocobos, and Galarian Zapdos is so sick. Just a great design overall. I don't know what the fuck is going on in the corner up here. I haven't finished Sword and Shield. So I'm going to ignore this, because this is making me uncomfortable. While I can acknowledge how funny this wheezing is, I don't know. I don't know. No. Yeah, no, I'm Team Wheezing. You just in real time watched me figure that shit out. Runerigus is dope, but so is Ursaluna. Both of these, I think, are really, really good designs. But I appreciate Runerigus for being the stupidest evolution requirement in all of Pokemon. As much as I want to put Corviknight there, because I love Corviknight, for like my flying type, realistically, I should save it for Steel. I do like Hisuian Braviary, but only when it's shiny. Otherwise, it looks weird, and I don't know why. Wordier fucking rules. I don't care. It's fucking Yakul from Princess Mononoke. I really want to put Snom again, because he's very cute. But Kleavor is, I think, a really cool way of saying that Scizor had an evolution, or Scyther had an evolution before Scizor. Easy. Hisuian Avalugg crushes. My man looks phenomenal. Now, looking at these ghost types, you might be thinking to yourself, what could possibly be better than Poltegeist or Sinistea? Corsola is a horrifying, punch in the face, but it is a reminder that Pokemon is about living in harmony with nature. And this is an example of what happens when you do not live in harmony with nature. Which is what I thought the story of Galar was going to be about. I thought it was going to be about how, the industrial ways of Galar are taking advantage of Pokemon, like Corsola. And it's not good, and they need to change that. But instead, we got whatever stupid shit is going on in that game. Come on! Come on! It's a cool design. Ghost Dragon, that's so good. I'm going to say Grimmsnarl goes crazy. Little Goblin guy becoming that looks very cool. I've already mentioned it, but Corviknight is my favorite steel type. I can't, understate how they have finally made a regional bird have a final evolution that I'm like, yes, that deserves to go on my team. Not get benched immediately after evolving it for the Pokedex. I love Galarian Rapidash. Plus, one of my best friends. This is her favorite Pokemon, so. Now, you know what's crazy? I fucking hate all of the Galar starters. I hate them. Like, with a burning passion. The only one who's remotely acceptable is Inteleon, but only when Gigantamaxed or whatever so he can shoot JFK. But I just get to pick Decidueye again. This generation does have the most amount of gimmicks, since it has Gigantamax, Dynamax as a whole, but then also regional forms for Galarian Pokemon, but then also Hisuian forms. It's a whole thing. I guess I'll go with Gigantamax Appleton. Now, I don't particularly like any of the legendaries from this generation either. I don't know who this fucking monkey is at all. I am very lost, but I do love Sif from Dark Souls. And of course, Snom Sweep. Generation 9! Okay, this is, to me, a really fucking good generation. The games are buggy as fuck, but the mons are awesome, the story is great, and it's genuinely one of my favorite Pokemon games. Cyclizar is such a, like, weird fucking design that I can get behind. The Dunsparce is just the funniest joke on the player you could ever make. But Tandemaus and Mousehold just fucking rule. They're just so cool. Just as a concept. They evolve. They get busy, you know? Of course, Ceruledge is, like, really high up there for me. But I cannot deny how much I have fallen in love with Skeledirge's design after just, like, sitting on it more. And I like Chi-Yu. Firefish funny, but I think Skeledirge takes it. Another, like, easy fucking sweep for me is Walking Wake. This Pokemon is so well designed. When they revealed it, I was, like, awestruck that they did not save it for the DLC, because this is a genuinely phenomenal designed Pokemon, and it just moves so well. Those raids kind of suck though. The raids have issues. I want to put Wo-Chien as my favorite grass type because it's such like impeccable design, but I already know that it's going to be my favorite legendary, so I'm not going to. I'm putting Wo-Chien over here just preemptively. Bramblegast just goes crazy. Now, this generation does have a pretty severe lack of electric types, but Bellibolt has a really... See, this is what I really like about Paldea, is a lot of the Pokemon actually have, like, explanations for their designs ecologically. With Bellibolt, it's an intimidation thing by having the big-ass eyes up here. And it's cool, and it reminds me of the basilisks in Dark Souls. Just one Scundo, Satitan is a fucking peak design. Peak. I already kind of mentioned this, and as awesome as the Nihilape is, genuinely phenomenal way of bringing a first-generation Pokemon and giving it a new evolution 20 years later, Great Tusk has the just... it's such a good design. It's so good. It's so good. But I think I can get away with doing a Nihilape here and Great Tusk here because Clodsire fucking sweet! I love Clodsire! He's so silly! Oh my god. Unironically has become in my top 3 favorite Pokemon of all time. I love this little guy. This generation kind of has dog shit flying types. I'm gonna be honest. I hate Squawkabilly. Wattrel and Kilowattrel are okay. Bombardier is lame as fuck. I don't like Flamigo at all. And Iron Jugulis is the worst Paradox Pokemon. But I do kind of like Kilowattrel. Rabska just has like this really funny story to me. Just the idea that you roll shit around long enough, you obtain enlightenment. I can't argue with that. That's awesome. She's just so pretty. While I really do like that Nacli, like this whole line is like kind of silly, right? It's the Minecraft line. Cloth just goes nuts, dude. Analyzing ghost types, Greavard makes me really sad, but the fact that it evolves through high friendship into Houndstone, beautiful. Roaring Moon is, again, just peak Pokemon design. I know I'm just repeating peak over and over again at a lot of these, but they are all genuine, like, some of the best designed Pokemon in years. Like, I would say that as pretty much Gen 6 was like the last Pokemon generation that I like really, really loved. And I felt like Gen 7 and 8 really missed the mark for me. But Gen 9 has just completely taken it and just completely turned it around for me. Shenpao, however, I think has to take the crown for Dark-type because it's a Barioth from Monster Hunter, but without the wings. And Barioth is my favorite Pokemon. And Barioth is my favorite monster in Monster Hunter, so this, I've got a bias. I also just like the lore around all of the Cursed Four. I want to say Golden Go because he's silly. I want to say Kingambit because he's cool. I already know that Tinkaton... Oh, no, I don't. I want to say Tinkaton because she's very, very funny. Orthworm is so stupid. I love him. No thoughts in there. Zero. I could put Tinkaton. Or Doxbund. Or Iron Valiant. And it's between those three where I'm like, fuck, man, I really gotta figure this out. But I think I'm going to stick with Iron Valiant just because that's the only Violet Paradox Pokemon that I actually like. Obviously, Meowscarada, because I can't not do grass types. And of course, it's fucking Paldean Wooper. The silliest guy around. Still Clodsire sweet. Okay, here we go. We are coming up to the end. But before I get to the crowning achievement of my favorite Pokemon of all types, I'm going to run through these down here. I promise these are going to be quick. Love Hoothoot. Hoothoot, goated. Regional mammal, of course, I gotta fucking put it. There we... Oh, no, I'm going with Zigzagoon, actually. I lied. Favorite regional bug? Fuck. That's a lot harder, but I'm going to say Venipede. Actually, no. Nimble, because he's become a meme between me and my partner. Favorite pseudo-legend to this day has to be Tyranitar. Looks awesome. Favorite Pikachu clone. Those are just Pikachu. Most of these are just Pikachu. Mimikyu. Favorite evolution is, of course, Umbreon. My favorite Pokemon. My favorite fossil Pokemon. This is hard. This is genuinely hard for me. I'm going to say... Shit. Yeah, I'll stick with Kabutops. This makes me sound like a Gen 1er. I promise I'm not. Of course he is. He's my favorite regional form. Favorite Gigantamax. I don't really like most of these. Truth be told, I don't really like most of these. I want to kill JFK. I should not say that. None of them. I don't like baby Pokemon. Like, at all, really. But Munchlax is the exception. Clodsire, sweet. My favorite Pokeball. Are we talking about in terms of utility or just design? Because if we're talking pure utility, the Quick Ball, goated. But if we're talking just design, the Luxury Ball looks really good. My favorite type... Ooh! Fuck, that's really hard. Fuck, it's between Dark and Grass. My favorite Paradox Pokemon... Oh, shit, this is kind of hard. Great Tusk's design is so good. Favorite Ultra Beast, easily Guzzlord. That man goes nuts. This is harder than I thought. It's Hoopa. Favorite box legendary of all time? I gotta go with this one, because Heart Gold and Soul Silver is my favorite. Okay, there it is. There's the team. It took a lot longer than I thought it would, because I actually had to think about it. So, here we are. The finale. Perfect timing. I did not think this was going to take me 2 hours, but here it is. I hope it's less than 2 hours when I finish editing it. It should be. But here we go. Favorite normal type? Easily Hisui and Zorua. Just gorgeous Pokemon. Favorite fire type? Honestly, Skeledirge has my heart right now. My favorite water type of all time. Oh, shit. Walking Wake also... I don't know if that's recency bias. Like, I'm worried about recency bias with these. But I think I'm going to go with Feraligatr just because of the, like, story I told. Favorite grass type is, of course, my little man. Again, Ampharos with that, you know, bias. I do think Houndoom actually kind of sweeps that. Looking over the ice types, Snom is adorable. Snom sweep. I thought about it, but no, definitely Annihilate. Poison type is, of course, Clodsire. I really like all of these Pokemon a lot. Like, a lot. Quagsire is so silly. I still to this day think Noivern has such an incredible design. For me, it's gotta be my boy Yakul. Fuck it. Let's go with Scolipede. He goated. Lycanroc, absolutely incredible Pokemon. I really wish I could use Delmice, but I never have a reason to put it on my team because it's the exact same type as Decidueye. My favorite dragon out of all of these is Latios. Now, I didn't mention this Latios story before, but I'm gonna bring it up now because I think it is important to bring it up. But one of my key memories of playing Heart Gold Soul Silver was when I went out to visit my grandparents in Sacramento, and I spent the whole day on the couch just talking to my granddad, playing through Soul Silver, and I was hunting down Latios because he kept running away from me. And it was really special because he didn't have to pretend to be interested. But he did. And that meant a lot to child me because I didn't have anyone I could share those thoughts with. And that's really hard when you have this huge hyperfixation that takes over your entire life and you can't share it with anyone. Anyway, whoop! I'm really debating putting Corviknight there because Corviknight is a really sick design. Yeah, I'm putting Corviknight there. Favorite fairy type, Mimikyu Sweep. Finally, for my favorite starter. Ah, shit. I do not like Generation 4 at all. But Torterra is just awesome design. Like the lion turtle from Avatar, these types of designs, these turtles, these world turtles, this mythological concept of a world turtle. I love it. Now, Paldean Wooper is very silly, but dude, Absol looks so good. Mega Absol is so good. And to round things off, favorite legendary Pokemon. I've sat and thought about this long and hard. And I gotta say it's Wo-Chien. Grass Dark is a dope-ass type combo, and Wo-Chien is a snail, and I like snails, and he's very cool. So, yeah, that is the extremely long, extremely long, my favorite Pokemon list. I don't know when this video is coming out, just know that I am working on a lot of different videos, and I'm just having trouble juggling between different hyperfixations. But I appreciate any support that gets thrown my way regardless. So, thank you very, very much for watching. I'm gonna post this probably on my Twitter. And definitely in my friend Discord. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the 27 people who have been subscribed still, even though I have not uploaded in literal years. Well, that's not true. It's been a year. But I'm hoping to put out content more often. I, at the very least, plan on streaming more on Twitch than I do. You can catch my partner on Twitch. I'll have all the links to that sort of stuff in the description of this video. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, and I don't want to keep uploading exclusively update videos where I've been, because the answer is trying to make something really worthwhile. But I think sometimes I need to accept that I can just put out simple content like this, because it's not any less valuable or entertaining, nor is it any less difficult. Dude, my throat is killing me. I've been talking for 2.5 hours. This shit is nuts. So, thank you very much. If I talked shit on a Pokemon that you like, just know, not personal. Just don't like the Pokemon. I know that every Pokemon is someone's favorite Pokemon. And I hope that other people do this and share it. Send it to me on Twitter. Genuinely, just tweet at me your results. I would love to see this. I love learning about the types of Pokemon that people like, and I also really, really like seeing the patterns that people have. For me, a lot of my patterns are silly fucking guys and dinosaurs. But yeah, I really hope that you all enjoyed. And I just, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for any support you've given the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I gotta pee really bad. I drank this whole jug of water. Oh, there's still a little bit left. Okay,